Hello and welcome back to Ride Rescue. In this episode of the Ram rebuild, I want to do my best at getting these pillars, the hinge pillar as well as the strike latch pillars, straightened out and aligned as much as I can. Now that I know the front A-pillar is pushed in a little bit and the center pillar is pushed in a lot, I'm going to attempt to do all the straightening here in my garage. It doesn't appear this area is pushed in, it's just where the hinge bolts on. I only need to pull it out about 1/8 of an inch, just enough so that I can get the door to align with this edge. So I'm going to attempt that, and there is a bolt here. I'm hoping that it will pull all of this out together. I have this aluminum bar that has bolt slots in it, so I've bolted that to both the upper hinge and the lower hinge, and then I will use that to pry against the center of the cowl with this 2x4 and a pry bar and see if I can pull this hinge out. You can see that flex. Took out the wrinkle that was right here. I had a little bit of a wrinkle and a little bit of a low spot, and that appears to have smoothed out. There's several layers right here that's all spot welded together, so it is pulling everything the way I was hoping it would. So it appears what's happening is as I'm pushing, or I should say, as I'm pulling out on this front edge, it's pushing in on the back edge at the same time. So it flattened this surface out where it was diving in before. It pulled that out, but it also pushed this in at the same time. So this whole area now is parallel to the truck the way I want it, but it's still in too far. I need to bring it out. I reversed this hinge, and I'm going to try and see if that will pull it out more evenly. It's just a trial and error thing. It's really hard to tell until you put the door on. I'm going to try to take it out just a little bit beyond. Well, it worked pretty good. Could still maybe come out a little bit further, but it feels really close, and it's pretty similar to the other side. Once we get all of the seals in, the weather strip, it'll probably push it out a little bit. But I know this pillar is pushed in just a little. I'm not sure how far. I won't know till I get the sunroof out and I can measure across that sunroof opening. So I'm pretty sure this area right at the door handle on the latch is in a little bit too. You can see a little bit of a dimple and a wrinkle here. So if that's pushed in, then that is going to pull this door in too. Once this is pulled out, once the latch is out, then I think this will all tie in much better. And I don't want to do a whole lot more on this A-pillar until I get that center pillar where it needs to be. So this is a good place to stop for now, and then I'll get the sunroof out and start pulling this area. I'm going to attempt pulling some more, and this time I'm going to pull that center pillar if I can. Since this worked out so well to brace and push against here, I'm going to do the same thing. And since there's so much damage on the bed, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this side of the bed, if I'm going to replace inner and outer or just the outer sheet. But I don't think I can damage the inner anymore, and I definitely can't hurt the outer skin. That has to be replaced. So as long as I can keep from damaging this any worse, I should be able to wrap this area and pull it. But I don't want to get too carried away on this area, and I need to measure that sunroof opening. If I can't get enough pull with these aluminum beams, then I'll probably have to reinforce it, stiffen it up, and get a cable come along and pull it. But I'll start with some ratchet straps. You can see the upper area of this roof along that edge, how it's pushed in. But measuring the sunroof area really hasn't moved much. Maybe only a 16th, if even that, maybe only a 32nd. So most of it looks like it's wanting to bow up right here, right along this plastic channel. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to just pull that pillar out. You can see the bends in it. I am replacing all of this outer skin, so I want to just pull it as much as possible, and then when I remove the skin, I'll be able to pull more if I need to when it comes to all the inner structure. And you can see there my ratchet strap. I'm going to pull the middle of it because it appears to be slightly bowed in the middle as well, but I'm not positive. So I'll just start with that area and we'll go from there. I'm going to start with pulling a dimension side to side. Because this is an aluminum beam, it has a lot of flex. So we'll see a lot of pull, but I don't know how much of this will actually be coming. Well, the truck is stronger than the aluminum beam. I'm getting a lot of flex out of the beam, but no movement out of the pillar. I'm going to tap on it, and hopefully with the pressure it'll move a little bit. This was pushed in pretty heavy right here, and it's reinforced with several layers. I can see inside the sunroof is bolted on to a beam along there, and it had pushed in on the bolts. I loosened up the bolts. In fact, it moved about 1/4 of an inch. So when that went in, it went in with a lot of force, and in order to break that glass and push in that beam, it slid everything over probably 3/8 of an inch, and then came back out 1/4 of an inch. So it probably still needs to come out about 1/8. It did, it moved about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to reposition this ratchet strap because it's hitting here. If I can get it to pull a little bit more, and then I'll tap on it some more and see how much this moves. This area right here was pushed in about 1/4 of an inch. It had a bow in it. There's 3 layers right here. The 2 come together on the inside and overlap, and then this outer sheet comes across the top of it. Well, it moved where those 2 come together, and they've come back out where they should be, and it looks pretty straight. That is really close. There's a slight dimple right here. It used to come in like this one, and that is smoothed right out. The sunroof area has moved about 3/8 of an inch. So it has moved a long ways. Hopefully this doesn't spring back now once I take this strap off. I'm going to tap it over a little bit more, and then hopefully when it relaxes it doesn't go back. It's still dimpled in right here at the top where that spot weld seam is, but the spot weld seam is a channel and where it should be more in a U or a V shape, it's pushed over. So the bottom where the weld is doesn't appear to have moved. It's just the skin has been pushed up over it, and that's where this wrinkle is. But this area appears to be coming out really well. So now's the true test. Releasing this and see if it goes back. It did spring back just a teeny bit, about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to attempt to do it again. Main area I'm watching is right here. This area looks like it's only off maybe a 32nd of an inch, but this area where this seam is has gone in at the seam. So I want to work this a little bit more before I take this skin off. Okay, I think I've done all I can for this. I want to put the doors on. I'll change both of these hinges so that I can use the correct, or I should say the undamaged hinges. I'll put both of these doors on, and then before I take this beam off though, I want to see how much of this I can pull out. I don't think there's enough strength in this to do a whole lot of pulling on here, but I'm going to experiment with that before I take it all off and put on the doors. This is the area that I was talking about that had so much movement. You can see this metal piece pushed all the way into the sunroof area. This is plastic, and it actually embedded in the edge of that plastic. Did the same thing right here and right here. So this area, because of this big panoramic sunroof, had a lot of flux, but it appears as though it has bounced right back. So here's the seam that I was trying to straighten out. It pivoted on these spot welds, and this whole area came in probably about 3/8 of an inch. So it buckled right in here on the outer skin and then just hinged on all these spot welds on the inner. So by tapping this out, it does not appear to have damaged any of the spot welds, and this bow smoothed right out. How's this for some redneck engineering? I've got blocks strapped together, and then I bolted on through that back panel, and then I bolted to the edge of that panel. I probably pulled that more than 1 inch already, probably about 1.5 inches it was pushed in. So it's still coming along. I've got to adjust everything. I thought I would show a quick clip of what I'm doing. I had to cut away the side panel. It was so buckled and wrinkled that it just wouldn't give in. So the only way to release some of that pressure, especially right in this area, was to just cut it open. Plus, I was getting a lot of pressure on the back window. I didn't want to bust that back window. So by releasing all this stress, now that's loose, it also relieved all the stress in this area. So that's starting to come out, and it was really bad right here at the hinge plate where that wrinkle is. That's where it was pushed in the worst. So it's coming along. I'll keep playing with it. With some good old garage engineering, this came out really good. I've got, as far as I can tell, judging from the other side, I've got it right where it needs to be. The outer sheet is a disaster, but the inner sheet is still pretty straight. So I'm feeling really good about this. I'll put the doors on and see how everything lines up. I got these doors fitting really well as can be expected for all the damage to the outer sheet metal. So I went ahead and ordered this outer sheet metal, and it goes all around all 3 of the pillars. I panicked because they told me that this piece was back ordered till August. It's May. That just completely derailed this whole project. I searched and searched and searched. I tried to find used parts. I tried to find new parts. I couldn't find this part anywhere. It was on back order. So I had no choice but to go ahead and order it, and I was just going to have to put this project on the back burner and go on to something else. Mopar Parts called me an hour later and said the part number they found for this piece was just one number off. It was a slightly smaller one is what they said. That cab is the standard cab for the four-door. That one's the one on back order. This is kind of in between the mega cab and the standard cab. It's just a little bit longer, supposedly. I don't know what the real difference is, but fortunately, they hadn't stopped that same day. So I went through all these emotions in just a matter of about an hour, and then I'm jumping in the truck, well, not this one, my other truck, and picking up this panel. So now that I have that and I've got everything close, now I want to start working on the bed. So I'm going to drill out all these rivets. I'm probably going to have to just cut with a Sawzall in some other areas to get it out of the way, so I can see if I can save this inner panel. This inner panel is pushed in and down the way it kind of maneuvered everything around, and it pushed the floor of the bed in. So I'm really hoping that I can pull this out and it'll pull the bed and everything back up in place. So I need to get this skin out of the way first and see just how bad it is. If I have to order the inner skin as well, then it is available. But I do want to get this ordered right away just in case this is back ordered too. Oh, hey, all you car and truck enthusiasts. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm here to learn, to teach, and hopefully to inspire. So hit my subscribe button. I really appreciate you subscribing. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a like. Thanks again for watching.